Punxsutawney Phil has seen his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter. People gathered today at Gobbler's Knob as members of Punxsutawney Phil's inner circle summoned him from his tree stump at dawn to learn if he would see his shadow, in which he did. According to folklore, if he sees the shadow, there will be 6 more weeks of winter, and if he doesn't, spring comes early. The annual event in Punxsutawney originated from a German legend about a furry rodent. Phil's forecast in 2021 and 2022 also called for 6 more weeks of winter. 3 Beaver County High School football players were selected to be on the Steelers' All-Peer team. The All-Peer team consists of 11 chosen WPIAL or City League players that go above and beyond and act as mentors for teammates. The local players chosen were Kyler Rumbold of New Brighton, Demetrius Taylor of Beaver Falls, and Zapula Lewis of Ambridge. Sheetz have announced they are ending their SMILE policy. According to a statement from the family-owned company, they say, "Our culture at Sheetz has always been centered on respect and putting our employees, customers, and communities first. As a family-owned and operated company, nothing is more important than creating an environment that is inclusive and supportive of all of our employees. Recently, through employee feedback, we have learned that the SMILE policy is not aligned with these values from their perspective." They go on to say that effective immediately, the policy is discontinued. There are also reports that Sheetz has already made offers to rehire employees previously let go due to the former policy. A Pennsylvania Senate bill proposes changes to the state constitution. Danielle Smith has further details.
Senate Bill 1 would open a 2-year retroactive window for lawsuits by victims of sexual abuse who were otherwise time-barred from bringing these claims. Terry Clark with the Pennsylvania Council of Children, Youth, and Family Services says in 2019, the state extended the civil statute of limitations for child sexual abuse victims to file suit from age 30 to age 55. Clark says the bill would also allow legal action against organizations the council works with to support victims.
And this really is where our concern is, because it relates to a person being able to sue institutions. Those institutions aren't just folks like the Catholic churches or Boy Scouts of America. It's also foster care providers, adoption providers, residential treatment providers.
The bill, sponsored by Republican Senator Dan Laughlin of Erie, also includes new stricter voter ID requirements. Clark notes the proposed amendments would have to pass in 2 consecutive legislative sessions before they'd be put on the ballot for voters statewide.
Missy Elliott, Willie Nelson, Kate Bush, Iron Maiden, Cyndi Lauper, Soundgarden, Sheryl Crow, and the late George Michael are nominees for the 2023 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a list that includes a mix of country, soul, hip-hop, metal, rap rock, and grunge. The Cleveland-based institution announced Wednesday the 14 artists and groups are being considered for Rock Hall induction and also include Rage Against the Machine, The Spinners, A Tribe Called Quest, The White Stripes, Warren Zevon, and Joy Division, and New Order. Artists must have released their first commercial recording at least 25 years before they're eligible for induction.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM. Along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect partly sunny skies today, becoming gradually sunny throughout the day with a high near 38. Scattered snow showers tonight, mainly after 11 p.m. with increasing clouds and a low of 13. Isolated snow showers tomorrow before 1 p.m., otherwise mostly cloudy with a high near 17. And for the weekend, mostly sunny on Saturday with a high near 34. And warmer Sunday with a high of 47 with mostly cloudy skies and some breezy wind. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
It's time for Notes on Local Entertainment, the show highlighting the best in local talent. Hosted by Scott Tatey Entertainment, editor for the Beaver County Times, and Eddie Crow.
Today has been mostly glorious because, for the most part, I haven't had to really pay attention because other people were doing my job for me. The first hour, if you were listening, Jack Manning, Tony Amadeo were here. It was the Ask the Commissioners. Now, Scott Tatey is here, news and notes on entertainment. I got a lot of questions for you, and you got a lot of information to share. How you doing? First off, good to see you.
Always good to see you, Eddie. Doing well.
Does that come off as flippant or sarcastic when I do that? I had somebody say, when you say good to see you, it doesn't sound like you mean it. You understand I mean that.
I take it sincerely.
Okay. All right. Here's my sincere theory. I'm jealous of you because you just got to interview a Beaver County, and forget Beaver County, a rock and roll legend.
Donnie Iris.
Didn't you interview? I don't want to derail the program this early in the program. If you were going to do a Mount Rushmore of Beaver County, Donnie's on there, right?
Donnie, Joe Namath.
Yeah. You put
Tony Dorsett, maybe.
Ditka, well.
Ditka, that's a great argument. Donnie's a lock.
Jimbo, Donnie's a lock.
Yeah.
And one of the Grenadis, it doesn't matter which one. They'll just know, oh, that one's a Grenadi. But
Donnie is, yes, he's turning 80 years old February 28th, and they decided we're going to have a 80th birthday concert at UPMC Event Center in Moon, which is great because they've had these concerts in Greensburg, and who wants to drive all the way out to Greensburg? We just got to drive to Moon Township. Donnie's been living in Coriopolis, so it's right down the road from him, and I'm really looking forward to the Clarks are one of the opening acts.
Dude, how big are you when the Clarks are opening for you around
right.
here?
And then the Vindies from Youngstown, with that great singer Jackie, such an entertaining band. So it's a killer lineup. UPMC Event Center, March 11th. As you mentioned, I did get to talk to Donnie. Yeah, I was teasing him, and what is it, the cigars, the golf? He said, yeah, a little bit of both. He can still fit into that yellow jacket that was on the cover of Back on the Streets from 1980. Can you wear anything you used to wear in 1980? I can't.
Oh, dear Lord, no, I could, but nobody's going to want me outside. The yellow, that was the King Cool outfit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
He said not the pants. Pants are a little tight. He can wear that jacket, though. But I covered, like, his 75th birthday show and maybe the 77th. I can't remember, but still hitting the notes, still nailing it. They're going to do all the great Donnie Iris songs. They'll do The Rapper by the Jaggers. They've been, in their sets, been doing a lot of, like, a little help from my friends, getting the Beatles kind of in there because he's a big Beatles fan, so it's going to be a fun time.
Do you think people in Beaver County know what they got with that guy?
I do, and I think
he's 80 years old. He's been doing it literally since he was a little kid, if you know the backstory.
That's right.
But I think there are a lot of people that don't recognize that guy is, forget that he's a super good guy, nice guy, mortgage broker on the side. That guy's legendary.
Cracks me up how many bands will be playing at Jurgles, and they'll say, oh, my goodness, Donnie Iris came out, and he was there, and he's watching. Donnie's at Jurgles all the time. He's a music lover.
He loves
I've
shows.
seen him at so many shows. He has a cigar smoker there once a month, like the last Tuesday of the month. You pop in there, and anyone from the mayor of Pittsburgh to Jim Kren to like celebrities, like working people, they all hang out and have a cigar with Donnie Iris, and it's a really fun time.
Talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, please. I ranted about it a little bit this morning. I don't know if you heard what I thought, but run down the list and just say yes or no, and if it's a no, why?
Glad to see Warren Zevon, great songwriter. I know you and I are both talking. It's been too long. Sheryl Crow, a great songwriter, and I think she's a very good concert performer. If she didn't get on in the first ballot, I understand, but I'm a fan. George Michael had some hits. I don't
you
know.
Gotta have faith.
Yeah, some iconic hits, but he's not an automatic for me. Then you get in the argument. You have rappers like Missy Elliott. Does she belong? And she's fun live, great live act. First ballots, I don't know. I mean, there's still people like Iron Maiden hasn't gotten in, and they kind of represented the 80s.
Iron Maiden's a little bit more Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than Missy Elliott. I mean, no disrespect by Missy Elliott. I'd say the same thing about Willie Nelson.
Exactly. Yeah. What soon to be 90, Willie is on the ballot. And we saw that happen with Dolly Parton last year. She won the fan vote, and she for a while was backing out. Let someone else, but then she let the people have their way. So that's the big argument. It's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Some people think they should just stick to rock and roll. Some say, well, that's a lifestyle rock and roll. So here's my opinion, and I'll let you end with who you think deserves to get in besides Warren Zevon.
Okay.
I love the museum part of Cleveland. I love you can go in and see like backstage passes and guitars and cool props from the wall, 1980, and just all these great bands. Museum, I love. The Hall of Fame thing to me is silly. Who needs a Hall of Fame to tell you if Yes was a great band? Oh, they're in the Hall of Fame now. Okay, not what? As if, selling out 100,000 stadiums back in the 70s wasn't enough. I don't know. I could do without the Hall. I like the museum. How about you? Who do you think should be in
Zevon should be in, and I love the fact that he should be in, but if he were alive, he'd tell him to go stuff it.
Yes.
Because I believe it was Ray Davies for the Kings. It's like, I don't want to be a part of any club that forces me to pay to be a part of the club.
Yeah.
That's my problem with the Hall of Fame. It's just a money grub. A friend of mine was at the Hall of Fame 2 weeks ago in the, what's the place called? Oh, the gift shop. The closeouts T-shirts were $60 and $70.
You know where the gift shop is in there, right? You're walking down the final descent of the staircase to get out of the building.
Yeah.
Guess where you walk? You literally walk from the staircase into the gift shop. You cannot miss the gift shop.
No, but when you're selling the closeout T-shirts at $70 and $60, bro, that's a cash grab. Missy Elliott, great artist, not rock and roll.
Yeah, agree.
Willie Nelson, legend, obviously. I don't ever remember him covering a ZZ Top song.
Oh, that'd be good, though.
All right. Kate Bush, no. I love Kate Bush. I loved when Kate Bush was here the first time. Now that Kate Bush is back because Running Up That Hill was on a TV show, right?
On Stranger Things on Netflix.
Yeah. It's really cool that she made several $100,000 because that got used in that show. She's not a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Iron Maiden, yep. When you've rocked that long and one of the dudes in the band flies the plane to take you on tour, yep. Cyndi Lauper, I think, is brilliant. Okay. I'm not going to squawk one way or the other. Soundgarden, no. I love them. They're not a Hall of Fame band. If Hall of Fame doesn't mean Hall of really, really good. Soundgarden doesn't make it. Sheryl Crow doesn't make it. George Michael, God bless you. Wham, no. Who did I leave out?
Tribe Called Quest.
No.
Representing hip hop.
I don't. It's not rock and roll. And it's great. I used to listen. I had a roommate that was huge into them. Phenomenal music. It wasn't rock and roll. White Stripes, no.
Yeah, they didn't have enough albums. I love them. They were one of the best bands I saw back in the early 2000s.
All right.
Not a body of work.
Joy Division, yes. New Order, no.
They got them lumped in together.
Yeah, well, it was the same band except for the one dude that was in charge of the band before he died, Ian Curtis. Joy Division was really interesting. Joy Division was one of those bands where a lot of bands would say later, oh, no, we used to listen to them. Like the first Velvet Underground record that nobody heard except musicians that referenced it for 40 years. New Order, absolutely not. It was synth pop. Nothing wrong with synth pop, but it ain't Hall of Fame.
And one of their beef with the Hall of Fame is every 4 or 5 years they'll deign to have the ceremony in Cleveland. Heaven forbid they make rock stars have to take their private jets to Cleveland to where the Hall of Fame actually is located. Every other year it's in New York almost, and that always ruffles my feathers.
That's the cash grab.
Exactly.
They
can sell higher price tickets and get more corporations involved if they keep it in New York, but it's forgetting about the fans.
It's forgetting about rock and roll. The whole point of rock and roll was to go against the establishment. The establishment charges you $70 for a T-shirt. That's a rallying cry right there.
Yes.
Like, who was it? Was it Churchill? I would not want to be a member of any club that would have me as a member.
I thought that was Mark Twain.
It may be Mark Twain.
One of those great leaders.
Yeah, the Southern humorist, Great Britain leader, one of the two. All right.
So Warren Zevon it is.
Warren Zevon.
We decided it.
And he wouldn't
want to be in it.
He'd show up just to walk up and tell him to stuff it, which would make me want to cheer him even more. I saw something online, and I don't pay attention to this timeline nearly as much as you do because of your job. You have to pay attention to the movies that everybody screams, this is a good movie, this is a bad movie. What is that? The Oscars are coming up?
They announced the 10 nominees for Best Picture, yeah.
All right, how many of the 10 movies have you seen? I've seen 0, I can tell you now.
I've seen 4. Avatar is pretty good, but I don't know if it's an Oscar movie. Tar with Kate Blanchett was a mess. I do not recommend that. Though that Banshees of whatever was a terrible idea. Stupid movie. They had a good con. You remember the movie from 1983, Coming Home? Or no, Local Hero.
Yeah, Mark Knopfler did the soundtrack.
Right. Quaint little movie about this northern English village or Scottish village or whatever. They had that in their hands, and they screwed it up by doing some crazy things just to try to make it shocking, and they just wasted it.
What do you mean? It could have been as charming, as good as Local Hero?
Exactly. Could have been.
They
blew it. They dumbed it down. So don't go see Banshees.
That movie was so good.
Yes.
And it's one of those movies you watch it third or fourth time, you're still seeing stuff like an old Robert Altman film where it's like, oh, I didn't notice that before.
Peter Riegert from Animal House.
Animal House.
Role. Burt Lancaster has a role as
Mr. Happer,
the crazy corporation leader.
Yeah. Well, just buy the island.
Yeah.
You remember the funniest part?
I don't.
It's not a line. Remember the young guy? He's trying to. There's a romantic thing going with the marine biologist chick.
Yes.
Do you remember when he looks down and sees that she has webbed feet?
I forgot about that.
It's the third time I saw it. Okay, that's pretty funny. And if you watch the movie, you understand why. I discovered that movie. We talk about music. I knew nothing about that movie. I saw Mark Knopfler did the soundtrack to that movie.
That's right.
And then I saw the movie. I'm like, that's a great movie.
That's how I got into it too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, who should win the Oscar of the four you saw?
I still have to see like the Fabelmans, based on Spielberg's life, is playing right now at places like the Lindsay Theater in Swickley. The Elvis movie, I'm going to watch that this weekend.
What Elvis movie?
The one Tom Hanks plays Colonel Parker, and that young actor who is up for Best Actor as well. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of biographies. They always soft soap it, and it always goes on to. It's like a 2 hour, 2:30, 2:40, and why can't they keep it to?
I like a biography if it's true. If somebody was a piece of crap, show me they were a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: you just mentioned a name. Is there ever going to be a time where we get fatigue with Tom Hanks?
Ooh, that's a world I don't want to live in.
I know, because Otto, he's in everything. My favorite Tom Hanks movie, you remember That Thing You Do?
Mm-hmm.
He is so good at being generally likable. Yeah. But can you get to the point?
Filmed in Erie, right? They filmed a lot of that in Erie.
Yeah. The Oneaters, the big gig was they come down to Pittsburgh from Erie.
That's right.
But everything I see, Tom, maybe it's because we live here and he was just here, and Stangel's Bakery and all the filming that goes.
And they're still going whole hog. Stangle Lorraine's going to be back at the Lindsay Theater this Sunday.
Sweet.
Selling more of her Swedish pastries you see in the Tom Hanks movie. Last week she sold out like 6 dozen. The week before that it was like 4 dozen. I mean, people are gobbling up these pastries you see in the Tom Hanks movie, and the bakery in Ambridge is really thriving because of that.
All right, I take it back. Tom, you want to come to town, you come to town. If you're moving product, you come to town anytime.
Helping the economy.
All right, what else is going on? I know before we started this, you had a list of about 15 things.
2 more quick ones. There's a show Saturday at Stage AE with 5 Beaver County musicians are in the band. They're this close to selling out Stage AE. The singer is named Charles Wesley Godwin. He's sort of alternative country, the kind of country you might hear on Yellowstone. It's twangy. It's real country, what you and I would call real country.
Oh, like old George Jones twangy.
Songs about coal mining towns and
real country.
That kind of thing. Not about.
I was drunk the day that Mama got out of prison.
He's from Morgantown, the singer, but 5 of his bandmates are from Beaver County. They recorded the first 2 albums at what used to be Jerry Records in New Brighton. Now it's, of course, the Music Garden Studio. They are playing Red Rocks in Colorado this year. Oh, my gosh. They played the Ryman in Nashville. They're playing these hallowed music venues, and they're this close to selling out Stage A this Saturday. I have a story on timesonline.com. This is a band people need to know.
What's the name of the band?
They go by the singer's name, Charles Wesley Godwin, but the band is called the Allegheny High, because he has a song that mentions I'm on an Allegheny High as I'm driving down the road. So they took that name to kind of take their Pittsburgh influence.
Or some influence.
Really.
Sure.
And we got 2 Beaver County women in a new TV show. I have a story online on that as well, timesonline.com. It's on the Outdoor Channel. We've all seen these renovation shows, right? Ty Pennington comes in and redoes your living room. They finally came up with one. Let's renovate hunting cabins and fishing cabins. So they got 2 Beaver County women. Christy Miller from New Brighton.
Okay.
She runs Oakmill Works, and she's real good with like laser work and etching and woodwork kind of stuff. And then Joni Sprague, who people remember was from Patterson Township. She was a runner-up on America's Next Top Model in 2006. Became a carpenter, a model-turned-licensed carpenter. She was on Trading Spaces as a carpenter and DIY network shows. But they got these 2 women to be doing the handiwork as they're rebuilding cabins. One of the ones they're doing is owned by a Beaver County family up in Tionesta. So this TV show debuting later this month on Outdoor Channel has all kinds of Beaver County ties.
So the Outdoor Channel has made the home improvement jump at this point.
Exactly. And for once, I might actually turn on the Outdoor Channel to see that. I'm curious what they do to these old cabins. It's kind of cool. And they made the point, look, we're not just making them all cutesy, and we're making them practical. We're doing things. I mean, yeah, we might put a whiskey bar in this, but we're not making it look something that a guy who wants to go deer hunting isn't going to want to be walking through. They're going to keep it true to the nature of what a cabin should be if it's up in Tionesta.
They're not going to have it where you can't walk into it in dirty boots after deer hunting.
Take off your shoes. Yeah, no. So I'm really looking, and I've known Joni for years, since America's Next Top Model. She's so fun. She has a quaint little personality. And I've interviewed Christy, her colleague on this, and they're great people. So there's going to be a viewing party. Joni wants to have it somewhere up by Elwood City, where her family's from when she comes home. So I'll announce that when I get it. She had a viewing party at Kelly's in Bridgewater when she was on Trading Spaces. So it's kind of cool. You get to be with one of the stars of the show and hang out in a bar. I'll let you know when that happens.
All right. What else? There was one more thing you mentioned, and I don't want you to forget it. Did you forget it?
I always forget it.
I put
my column this week. I talk about the Grand Valley Inn. They're announcing their summer schedule of concerts. They have those tents outside the Grand Valley Inn in Falston. And there's a BOGO sale, buy one get one free, $10 savings if you buy before Valentine's Day for this lineup of concerts they have at the Grand Valley Inn. We'll have to get we had him on last year. Remember we interviewed him?
Yes.
I've got to get him back here. He's doing some cool things. They're paying the band. They're making sure they're charging $10 a ticket, and he's saying, look, we're making sure the bands get paid decent money for this. It's a big night for them. We want it to work.
I'm not going to get into specifics, but a friend of mine's in a band. Did a show not too long ago, didn't make any money. How often does that still occur? Because you know what the pitch is, Scott. Well, think of the publicity. Think of the notoriety, okay? You can't eat notoriety. Are clubs, not clubs, but are venues any better at recognizing that than they used to? You think of the money you'll get in exposure.
Yeah, there's still a lot of that going on. I mean, they have two options. They can not charge a cover and then give the band, a certain amount of money, or they can charge a cover and let the band keep the cover, right? And the argument is if you do that, it makes the band work harder to advertise it. I think the bands need to do a better job. They post something on Facebook and they think their work is done. Well, it's on Facebook. We let you know. No, remember the old days? You would go to telephone poles and you would staple flyers for your show. You'd be standing outside Mellon Arena handing out flyers for the show you're doing across the way the following Saturday. I don't see that kind of hustle anymore. I think people have gotten lazy. Well, we'll put it on Facebook. You got to do more. There's too much on Facebook.
During a rehearsal, you would hit everybody in the band up for money. You would take the flyer that the art student in the band did. You would go to Kinko's. You'd photocopy all the money you could buy, and then you'd go and put it on telephone poles anywhere near the venue, and that was just the legwork of doing it. Exactly. I appreciate that legwork is gone because of social media, but the work part of it, you've got to stand out more than the crowd. I don't know of anything more crowded than social media.
Right. Yeah, there's just there's a glutton of stuff on there. So I get where the bars are coming from to a degree where if we're hiring you, you need to bring people in. We need to make it worth the money we're paying you. So I think it falls on both the band and the artist. But I do think there's a way, like this they're doing at the Grand Valley Inn, to be up front, telling people what they're charging, make it a nice experience. They have heated tents, so if you're there in April or September, it's a little bit cold, you're going to feel comfortable. They make it like a big, here's our schedule for the whole year, so people get excited about it, they get into it. So that's a way you can sell the $10 tickets, and the band's getting their money, and everyone's happy.
Are you happy?
Rarely. I'm a Scorpio though.
But you're wait, what?
Scorpios, we're
don't drag.
Moody.
Really, you follow horoscopes?
Only mine.
Self-centered is that one of the characteristics of your particular sign?
Kind of is, yeah.
Well, all right. I'm not even. We don't got time to get into that. Scott Tatey, entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times and self-professed Scorpio. It's Teleforum. It's okay. What I got to ask, I'm sorry. What is a character trait of a Scorpio? Or better yet, what is a character trait that you justify by saying, oh, it's not me, I'm a Scorpio?
We're moody, we're passionate, we're loyal to a fault, all the way up or all the way down, on middle ground, no Scorpio is found.
I'm going to look up Pisces and see what I am.
Thanks for tuning in to Notes on Local Entertainment with Scott Tatey, entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times, and Eddie Crow. Tune in again next Thursday at 11:30 for all of the updated music information in Beaver County.
time of year to find out the state of Beaver County. The Beaver County Chamber of Commerce is presenting the State of the County on Tuesday, February 7th from 8 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. at Geneva College in Beaver Falls. Beaver County Commissioners Daniel Camp, Tony Amadeo, and Jack Manning will discuss the current state of affairs here in Beaver County. You can join the Chamber for this annual event by going to beavercountychamber.com and go under the Events tab to register. The cost is $35 for members and $45 for non-members. Beaver County Radio will also be streaming the event live on Facebook as well as on the air on Beaver County Radio and beavercountyradio.com. The annual Beaver County Chamber State of the County is being brought to you by presenting sponsor Strasburg